All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Chapter 6, Lesson 2 of your night notes, our first set of night notes from this new Chapter 6 from our equations and inequalities. We're working today with multiplication and division equations. So let's begin. First, just to recap, or just listen at this point, we wrote this in our notes on Friday, how to isolate a variable. If it's not in those notes, that's on Book Creator, go ahead and jot those down. We can take those pictures and get those back into Book Creator if you missed on Friday. We said that isolating a variable was like isolating a person. Here's me isolated. Look at, I'm away from all my surroundings. I have all my desks moved away from me. I've isolated myself. When we're isolating variables, you're removing all other elements surrounding the variable. So if we're looking at 3 plus x equals 7. To isolate this variable x, I want to get that x by itself. That means I need to do something to eliminate this 3. We'll keep moving forward as to how we do those things, but that's what isolating means. I need to eliminate the things around the variable in order to help me solve. I need to isolate for x, eliminate that 3. Remember, here we have that golden rule of algebra. Remember, that's this wonderful, fantastic piece of information that will allow you to be successful. Just another quick recap as to where we covered on Friday. The golden rule of algebra says when I'm eliminating things or I'm isolating, that I do whatever I do to one side of my equal sign, I do the exact same thing to the other side. And so you should have those in your notes already, but that is a good recap on the golden rule of algebra. And that helps us isolate and that helps us move forward. So remember about that idea of isolation and that idea of golden rule of algebra. Whatever you do to one side of the equal sign, you must do the exact same thing to the other. We're going to do a quick recap. These are some things that you just take a look at from your book and skills that you just practiced today. So let me just take a pause. You're going to stop. I want you to solve these. And once you're ready, click play again, and I'll quickly go over those answers, and we'll check to make sure that you're on the right point. If double checking those answers in your books, we should, since we're isolating, we want to get y alone. Therefore, I'm going to eliminate that 6 by subtracting 6 things away from each side using that golden rule. One side equal sign, second side equal sign, 9 minus 6 equals 3, so y equals 3 here. Again, trying to isolate the x, so eliminating that 3. If I have 3 things, that means I need to subtract 3 to get rid of them. Golden rule of algebra, so now I'm left with 1 minus 3 is negative 2. And then again, isolating the a, so that means I'm going to eliminate the 4. I have 4 things, I subtract 4 things away. So now I have negative 3 minus 4, which is the same thing as negative 3 plus negative 4. And that equals negative 7. So in this case, a equals negative 7. Beauty part about algebra is I should never be wrong because I can take that value of y, plug it right back in, and 3 plus 6 does equal 9, therefore I know I'm right. Negative 2 plus 3 equals 1. That's a true sentence. That's how I know I'm right. And we can take a look at this negative 7 plus positive 4 equals negative 3. Again, I've proved that I'm correct. If you have any questions on those, if you got any of those wrong, make sure that you stop and ask me a question about those so we can get back on the right page before we move forward. All right. Next, we're talking about OOI, which is OOI. This helps us isolate. This helps us to remember what we need to do. You may have seen some OOI things around my classroom, and that is on the top whiteboard that's above the important stuff board. And this video just quickly shows where that's at. But in OOI, we stand for opposite, operations, isolate. So O, opposite, O, operations, I, isolate. Here's the second time we've heard this isolate term. So go ahead and write those things down. OOI, opposite, operations, isolate. And now, it doesn't really make a ton of sense, but what it kind of tells you is a little guide. The opposite operations help you isolate. If you ever get a job about how I need to isolate a variable, use the opposite operation of what's being said in the actual equation. If you use the opposite operation of it, it'll help you isolate. Let's take a look at some examples. So make sure that you have these written into your notes, and let's take a look at some examples. In some of your examples, you're going to say, remember that OOI, that opposite operations help me isolate. So again, I need to isolate for that y. This is the recaps of the ones we just did before. So I need to recap there. It says y plus 6 equals 9. To isolate it, I need to subtract 6. I'm using the opposite operation to isolate. And then my golden rule of algebra says both sides, and that's where I got y equals 3. Again, reading this said x plus 3. To isolate it, opposite operations help me isolate. Therefore, if it says x plus 3, the opposite operation of addition is subtraction. So I subtract 3, a golden rule, subtract from both sides. X now equals negative 2. And again, just recapping what we did before. Again, same problem we did before. I have a plus 4. And again, I'm using the opposite operation to help me isolate. And the opposite operation is of addition is subtraction. Therefore, I subtract 4 from each side to isolate for a. So now I'm left with a equals negative 7. And those are the ones we covered already. So this is how we just apply OOI to help us isolate. Now as we take it, we're going to look through some of the book. These are some things in the book that we just want to go through. I'm going to talk through them real quick. Again, you just got to listen. We're going to look for our OOIs. Here we have originally 20 equals 4 times x. So now we're ramping up to multiplication and some division. So it says 4 times x. Therefore, I use the opposite operation, division, to isolate. I divide by 4, divide by 4. 4 divided by 4 is just 1, and now I just left with 1x. 20 divided by 4 is 5. They use the opposite operation to help them isolate. 1x equals 5. Same thing here. We have negative 8 times y equals 24. The opposite of multiplication is division. Therefore, to isolate, opposite operations help me isolate. I divide by negative 8 and divide by negative 8 on the other side of the equal sign according to the golden rule of algebra. So now when I divided both, I get negative 8 divided by negative 8 is positive 1. 24 divided by negative 8 is negative 3. Therefore, y equals negative 3. This type of problem has always historically tripped up some 7th graders before. So make sure that you're still allowing yourself to still OOI. And by reading the problem, you should be able to really understand what you need to do to isolate. So here we have a divided by negative 4. Remember that division, or that fraction bar, always means divide. So a divided by negative 4 equals negative 9. So now if we read that, a divided by negative 4 equals negative 9, I need to isolate for a. I need to get a alone on one side of my equal sign. In order to do that, it says a divided by 4. Therefore, my opposite operation of division is multiplication. So I multiply this side by negative 4 to help me isolate. So if I multiply one side times negative 4, I need to multiply the other side by negative 4. So here they multiplied a times negative 4, or I'm sorry, a divided by negative 4 multiplied by negative 4. And when you do that, you get a over negative 4 times negative 4. Remember, that's negative 4 over 1. So remember, I just multiply straight across. And now I have negative 4a over negative 4. And those negative 4s cancel out, and I'm just left with my a. So now if I multiply the left side by negative 4, I need to multiply the right side by negative 4. Negative 9 times negative 4 is 36. And so I use my opposite operation to help me isolate. It said to divide. A divided by negative 4 is negative 9. Therefore, to isolate it, I had to multiply. So I did the opposite operation. We're going to do a quick check-in to stop and solve. You have a multiplication problem here that you need to solve for what x equals. And you have a division problem over here, m divided by 5, that says m divided by 5 equals negative 7. So your job is to figure out what x equals and what m equals. Go ahead and click play when you are ready to check, and then we can move forward. As you're checking in, that means we have 6 times x equals 30. 6 times x, the opposite operation of multiplication is division. Therefore, divide by 6, divide by 6. This is just left with 1x. 1x equals 30 divided by 6, which equals 5. Then I have m divided by 5 equals negative 7. We have a division problem, therefore I multiply to eliminate and to isolate. So I multiply the left side by 5 and the right side by 5. And so now I have m over 5 times 5, and there that's 5 over 1. And so now I have 5m over 5. The 5's cancel out, and I'm just left with 1m. And 1m equals negative 7 times 5. Bad things happening to a good person are bad. Negative 7 times 5 is negative 35. Plugged back into my original equation, negative 35 divided by 5 does equal negative 7. Therefore, I know I'm correct. Finally, we're going to end on our joke of the day. We're going to use these opposite operation to help you isolate things, to help you move forward with our next set of book assignments. So for our joke of the day, we have, what did the photographer say when asked about the quality of his fog picture? What did the photographer say when asked about the quality of his fog picture? Well, the photographer just shook his head and he said, I don't know, not that great of a picture, because I missed. Missed. Get it? So funny. Okay. So that's our joke of the day. Write down I missed into your notes to make sure that I know that you got these and you're understanding through this notes or through these new concept. And make sure to remember your OOI, your opposite operations isolate. Best of luck. Thank you.